Piaggio recommends having an oil and filter change every 10,000 kilometers, which is around 6,200 miles, or every 10 months. Yo, what's up guys, we're back at it, and today we are changing the oil and filter on my 2019 Piaggio Liberty 150S. We're going to need an oil pan, we're going to need 2 bottles of Castrol Power One Superior Acceleration SAE 5W40. We're going to use about 1.3 quarts, and I'll show you later, but we'll need to get 2 of these bottles here. We're going to need our OEM spec K&N oil filter. This is a KN 183. I'll show you here what we're rocking with. Pretty sweet, fits perfectly. It's got a nice attachment on top so you can screw it in, screw it off. We are going to need an oil filter wrench. This one's a 12-inch. I think around 9 could work as well. The 12 is a little big, it still bites with the teeth, but you can see where it's a little loose. So they do sell a 9 and a 10-inch oil wrench as well, so I'll put a link down below, you can check it out for yourself. What I recommend is also just to get an adjustable wrench, monkey wrench, and that way with the oil filter, if it has the exposed nut, you can just crank it off nice and easy. A lot of times the stock oil filter doesn't, so that's when you'll need the oil wrench. You'll also need a 15/16 wrench, and this is to get the oil plug nut off. It doesn't matter what side you use as long as you can access it. Sometimes it does help to tilt the scooter. If you can have a friend help you with that, it makes accessing the oil and filter much easier. You're going to need a pair of pliers. This is to get the oil plug filter out, just to inspect it later. And we are going to need a funnel. This way we can get the new oil in the scooter. I also recommend having some type of ramp or funnel that leads oil directly to the oil pan because the oil drains so close to the kickstand, we don't want it getting on the ground. Now that we have everything all set, let's do it. Let's get out there. First things first, we do want to make sure our scooter is nice and warmed up so we can turn it on, run it for a few minutes, and then we'll turn it off and let everything cool down for about 10 to 15 minutes. Alright, so now that the scooter's all cooled down and settled, we'll get our 15/16 wrench and we're going to locate the drain plug nut right about here. We're going to want to get our oil pan in position, and we're going to want to get that funnel, that makeshift funnel piece of cardboard, and we're going to want to angle it so that way when the oil drains out, hits that little funnel, that piece of cardboard drains into the pan. The oil plug is so close to the kickstand that there's no room for the oil pan to go right underneath it. That's why we need this little ramp here. Alright, so we're going to loosen lefty-loosey, and then once we get to the point where we can get our hands in there and we can loosen it by hand, by this point the oil's cooled down so it shouldn't burn you, but still want to be cautious. Want to get to the point where it's just right about where oil's going to start coming out, and then you can let it drain out very slowly. What you don't want to do is what I do right here, and I let it out a little too much, and then all the oil comes out too fast, and what it does, it overflows the makeshift funnel, cardboard funnel that I made here, and you can see how it's going over the side. So don't do what I do what I say. Alright, learn from my mistakes so this isn't you. The last time I did it, it worked much better, but this time I just unscrewed it a little bit too fast and it just popped off, as you can see. But a little bit of bounty, never hurt nobody. So you can see, take this off, take the bolt off there, and then now clean it off with a little paper towel, and we will set that aside. Next we will get our pliers, and we are going to remove the oil plug filter. Real nice and easy. Just give it a grab, a little tug, you'll feel it give. A little more oil is going to drain out there, and just inspect it. If there's any debris, wipe it off there, and then we'll set it aside. Let that oil drain, and next we will get off the oil filter. Okay, so we're going to take our oil filter wrench here. This is a 12-inch. You can see where it grips the side of the filter and you're able to apply pressure and crank it off lefty-loosey. You can also try 10-inch or 9-inch, which might work a little easier. But I prefer just to use a monkey wrench here. And when we have the exposed nut, we can just line it up, crank it off lefty-loosey real easy. A lot of the OEM filters have this exposed nut, but a lot of times the stock filter doesn't. So that's when you'll need the oil filter wrench. But this one's got the exposed nut, so real nice and easy, lefty-loosey with the wrench. And then you can just unscrew the rest by hand. It just takes a couple twists and turns to the left, and then you'll notice a little more oil is gonna drain out there. And you're gonna wanna let everything drain for about 15 minutes. You know, this is not a rush job, just take your time. Let all the old oil drain out, clean up the area, then we'll put all the pieces back together. Next, we're gonna get our K&N 183 oil filter. Just get it out the box, get it out the wrapper. We're gonna get our Castrol Power 1, flip the bottle, get some oil on the cap there. Because what we're gonna wanna do is get our finger, rub it on the cap, get some oil on our finger, and that way we can just apply it around the O-ring of the oil filter. Just helps it seal up better there. And then we are going to just replace it exactly where we took it off earlier. Just twist it on initially by hand, and then we'll get our wrench or our oil filter wrench and just give it some give. Don't torque it all the way yet. We might need to adjust things later. Next, we'll take our pliers again, get that oil plug filter in position, put it vertical, push it, stays right in there, nice and easy. We'll get the cover back on, give it a twist by hand, and then we'll get our 15/16 wrench again. And once again, we're gonna torque it down, but not all the way because we might need to adjust things later. Next, we're gonna take a paper towel, just clean off any surface that oil could have potentially landed on, definitely around the filter and the drain plug. So we're gonna get our dipstick and just twist it right off. And I'll show you what we're working with so you can see what it looks like in there. We're gonna get our funnel in place, and now we'll take our first quart, completely pour that first bottle. Just take your time, you don't want it overflowing and overspilling. Once we're done with that, we'll get our second bottle here, twist it open, and then for this second, we're gonna pour about a third of it, so it totals to around 1.25, 1.3 quarts. And just take your time. Always better to do less than more, and you can add more later if you need to. It would be right about there. Now we're just gonna clean off our dipstick again with the paper towel, put it right back into position, twist it shut, and now we wanna make sure we run our scooter for a few minutes, let the oil get to where it needs to get to, and we wanna make sure there's no leaks anywhere that we worked on. And it is normal to see a little bit of smoke burning off if it happened to touch any parts of the scooter. Just give it a moment. After about 2 minutes, we'll turn off the ignition, let the scooter rest for about 10 to 15 minutes, and that way oil levels can settle and we'll get a proper reading with the dipstick. We're gonna clean it off real well, and we're gonna wanna make sure the oil levels are somewhere right in the middle of these markings here. So when we get our dipstick, we're gonna wanna make sure that we position it all the way down, and that includes twisting it all the way shut, and then removing it, twisting it all the way the opposite way. And let's see where the oil levels are, hopefully right in the middle somewhere, and voila, exactly right where we want it. You can see there in the middle of the markings, so that makes me happy. So we'll screw it right back into place. Now we're just gonna make sure we tighten everything completely. We can get our wrench again, make sure the filter is nice and tight. We'll take our 15/16 wrench and make sure the drain plug is all torqued down. Alright my friends, now that we have done it, we can get these knees in the breeze, but before that, we do want to make sure that we get our old oil and dispose of it properly, so we can take our empty bottle, get the oil pan, put it right back in the bottle, and then we can take it down to our local auto shop and they can recycle it properly. Well, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I will catch you later. Bye bye.